Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Detour Live. We really appreciate your company. And you know what else we really appreciate? When you like, share, and subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/the Detour Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Jones, joined as always by four-time national road champion, Johnny Trevor. And Johnny, we don't like talking things up on this show. We don't like taking credit where it's not due, but we will this time. Michael Storer. He's done it again. Dual stage winner now of the Tour of Spain. And we have to take credit, John, because we gave him so much confidence on the rest day. And so did Wendy Superfan when she said he is not a future superstar. He is one right now. And I think mentally he went into stage 10. All he was thinking about in his head the whole time was, geez, what support I got from that podcast. I can achieve anything. Is that a fair comment?
Well, we actually last night I think we backed Bling about 150%.
Anyway, you have to mention
that. But I'll tell you what a ride. I thought his stage 7 win was super impressive, and last night's was just as impressive. It's just he's got a really good ability to read the race and know the time to go, and he just took it on. Yeah, fantastic.
Well, one of the big talking points in the free ranges comes straight out with it. It's Primoz R, as there is no logic. That was the big talking point. What the hell was going on there, Johnny? And, why should we give our opinion? Why not talk to someone that knows cycling in and out? And he's got a fantastic YouTube channel, and that is, of course, the Lantern Rouge. We caught up with him earlier today to dissect what the hell was going on stage number 10. Here's the chat from earlier today. We're joined again by Patrick from the Lantern Rouge podcast. Mate, how have you found the Vuelta so far?
A bit of a slow start because I guess Roglic and the favourites, even on the first mountaintop finish, not interested in taking the jersey or pacing. So we've seen a lot of 14 minutes behind the breakaway, and I thought we were going to see that yesterday as well. Well, we did see that yesterday as well when the Jumbo-Visma didn't pace. Big breakaway was going to win, which, it was good for us Australians with Storer again. But, and then it kind of blew up when I was almost going to turn it off and start my own podcast recording early because I thought the GC group was just going to ride in. But, have you guys found it from an Australian perspective? It's going pretty well.
Oh, it's been awesome.
No, it's been great, hasn't it? Yeah, both Michael Storer's wins have been sensational. I've been wrapped right from the start. I know all of those days when the GCs didn't really excite us, there were great races going on from the breakaway. So I thought there was always something exciting happening. But I was a bit confused by Roglic's tactics yesterday. I wanted to get your opinion on this because I'm loving the way you analyse everything on your podcast. I love it. And I thought Roglic, to me, the only way he can lose this race is either crash out or blow up in the final week, just crack in the final week, And I thought yesterday's stage he sort of gave both scenarios an opportunity, He really spent a lot of effort. He was never going to get a huge gain out of it because it wasn't only a small climb. He pushed on the descent and finally laid it down. So I just wanted to get your reaction to Roglic's ride yesterday.
I 100% agree with you. I think you're right. Like, he looks like the best rider in this race, and it's not that close. And when you think about the final TT, he's had all these crash issues, particularly this year. Paris stage 8 crashed on a descent when he was in, he'd almost sewn up the race. It just had to get through the last stage. Crashed multiple times on a descent, taking risks. We didn't see it on TV. And then the other thing is what you mentioned, the third week cracking, and that's happened before. I think in this context of this race, I think that's not something to be as concerned about. Apart from the TT and the Tour last year, he dropped Pogačar twice in the third week on climbs, which people forget. He dropped him on Col de la Loze, dropped him on Glières, and it's just the last TT he stuffed that. And when we say he stuffed that last TT, he still put 50 seconds into Enric Mas in maybe his worst TT he's ever done. So when you look at his final TT, if you Jumbo-Visma, very smart team. Very smart. They would have modelled their expected gain for Roglic on riders in the final TT. And my guess, the minimum would be a minute. And this guy that put a minute into Dumoulin, Dennis and co. and Ganna in a Rolly course 2-3 weeks ago at Tokyo. So on Enric Mas, minimum a minute, one would think. If you add that to his time here, add this to the fact that Mas has never looked like dropping him. Why do you need to risk life and limb on a descent yesterday? It makes no sense. And then the second part is, and so that's my view, that it's not necessary at all. And Jumbo-Visma's overall strategy has agreed with that. The first week they've taken no risks with Roglic whatsoever in terms of pacing, in terms of attacking too early. And so it wasn't even the plan yesterday. They admitted this was not discussed in the team bus as what we're going to do. Roglic decided somewhere during the stage, hey, I'd like to do this and go on an adventure. And the car was like, sure, I guess. So it's not part of the overall plan, because stage 3 and 6, they didn't pace or attack. Stage 7, he didn't attack when Yates paced on an uphill finish. And so when he's saying no risk, no glory, if you don't know, if you don't try, you don't know, if you don't risk, you won't gain time. It's like, well, that's right, but there was safer opportunities for you to try in the first week and you didn't.
Yeah,
so it's a long
exactly.
Yeah. He just sounds like a wild Brumby. You can't tame him. Let it run.
But I've got a conspiracy theory I'm going to throw at you, Patrick.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Well, I've noticed it again yesterday, but nearly every day at the finish, Enric Mas gives it's like a teammate giving a thumbs up, a little tap to Primoz Roglic. He does it every day.
Yeah,
now,
a fist bump.
Have they got a little deal going on? I just wonder.
I don't know. It reminds me a bit of Jonas and Pogačar, right? They seem to be in cahoots at the Tour, where Pogačar is like, come on, man. You're not beating me, but don't make my life annoying, and I won't attack you. I'll pace with you a bit as well, and I'll maybe chase Carapaz for you to protect your second. Maybe it's that, or maybe Enric's just being buddy-buddy as well. Who knows?
It probably is, but I just like to bring up a conspiracy theory. I'm doing a Dan Jones.
When do I talk about conspiracy theories?
Oh,
you fact. I talk to fact, John. Hey, you're a straight shooter, Lantern Rouge. You call it as you see it. That's why we like you. And obviously, we've got Bike Exchange beer goggles. We're pretty biased. How are they going to win a stage of this year's Vuelta? And do you think they can with Bling?
Yeah, I think so. I think Schultz in the break yesterday was good. Storer attacked first, and then we saw Schultz Schultz was probably second strongest on that climb, and he was chasing a lot, because we see this a lot where the two guys who are going for the red jersey almost count themselves out of the stage despite being strong climbers, like Odd Christianike and Guillaume Martin, and he wasn't getting much help out of them. So that cost Schultz. I'd like to see... I don't know. I also thought Matthews would suit yesterday as well, but when a big break goes, it's better to have guys in it. The problem is EF have got Magnus Cort, who's similar rider, I guess, to Matthews. They've been getting him in breaks rather than pacing all day to chase him back, to set up something for Matthews, the best example of that, stage 6. I don't know. I think today's a good break opportunity. I'd love to see Rob Stannard in moves. He's fast. No, he hasn't won a big race yet, but he's punchy, he's fast, he can get over these climbs. I think Stannard in this move, in the break today with Schultz, is a really, really good opportunity.
What about Damien Housen?
He needs a bit longer, doesn't he? He won that Tour de Hungary stage. I think he'd be better in the break in stage 14 if... Jumbo-Visma don't particularly want to pace. I think Housen...
He was there yesterday, but he didn't really look strong in the finale, did he? He was whacking turns in for the stage, but he didn't seem to have it when the pressure was on.
Did he win on Falls Creek in Sun Tour, like start of 2020?
He did.
Yeah, going back a while
14,
now.
Stage 14 looks similar to Falls Creek.
All right. There you go. Look out for Diesel. Or the Demon on stage 14.
Getting Matt White on, whenever you get him on, ask him if he had a good TT, strong GC rider already in the lead, would he have let him do that, or would he have given him a roasting? Roglic?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, a good question for Whitey. We'll ask him that one.
Because it's different with Simon. Simon's a good descender, or Adam when they had him, but they're not so good TT riders. So they do need to chip away, gain more time on the road. I think that they're different. So it depends on the rider you have. Sorry, I'm going back to the Roglic thing.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. I was really impressed with Michael Storer, both back in stage 7, his win, but even more so with this one. And he just seems to think it out so well. He just knows the right time he needs to go and doesn't mess around. Very impressed.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised he got let go by DSM. Maybe FDJ gave him a Godfather offer after he won Tour de l'Ain, because Thibaut Pinot won that race in 2017, 2019. So,
yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah, he's probably, I said on the video yesterday, he's probably getting underpaid. Now he's won in dominant fashion, 2 Grand Tour stage wins from the break. He's a hard rider to profile. I think he reminds me a lot of Leonard Kamner, the German for Bora, same age, not looking like a Grand Tour GC contender, could become that way, or 1 week races for sure, but just really good at stage hunting in Grand Tours. So yeah, FDJ is. I'll be interested what their plans are for him. I guess they've had success with David Gaudu attacking out of breaks too. Him and Storer in breaks would be lethal.
Fantastic insights from the Lantern Rouge. Here's part 2 of our chat earlier today. What do you make of Ineos' tactics in the race so far?
I think I can't criticise them yesterday. They just literally got dropped. They're just on the climb. I think they were bluff pacing with Carapaz. I think Carapaz, he'd been trying to get in the break earlier. I think it's a bit weird to me that they've given Carapaz a free rein even yesterday to burn his legs trying to get in the break when they have no one to pace back on the climb, and Bernal's having to do it himself. I think that's pretty strange. It would make more sense to have Carapaz trying to help more with fresher legs. On stage 9, I think they cost Adam Yates with the strategy they had. I'm still not convinced that he wouldn't have been able to stay with Roglic and Mas. If you say, Adam, I want you to just follow moves, and in the last 3Ks, big attack, then try and gain 15 to 25 seconds back on some guys. And I think he wouldn't have been dropped. But they attacked really early, and it didn't work out for them. But otherwise, it's tactics aside, they're just looking not great for this second
It's
week.
funny. I've noticed Bernal the last couple of days before yesterday that he didn't look as good. Yates has looked really strong, and so it surprised me that Yates lost time yesterday. Bernal didn't surprise me at all, but I thought Yates would have no trouble being up with Roglic and those crew, and they lost 30 seconds. So that was, to me, I can't see Ineos really coming back from this as far as GC is concerned.
Yeah, yesterday was really, I agree, it was weird. Adam Yates on that sort of climb, it'd been an easy stage beforehand, and he just gets hard dropped on that climb. And you think back to Tour de France, on those short climbs when he took the yellow jersey last year on, that short climb on stage 2, when he attacked with Alaphilippe and Hirschi. So he's normally a pretty punchy guy like that, and yeah, I was surprised. Bernal, I agree, he's looking terrible. And I even heard that maybe Roglic's move was because he saw Bernal not looking good. I heard from people in the group afterwards that base of the climb, Bernal was not looking good. So maybe, I think when you look at how Yates, you're like, his legs have been good in the first week. 100% they have been. And then you're like, how is he on 2 minutes 20? Where's all that time loss come from?
Yeah.
It's just been little things accumulated over the week that's put him in a really bad position.
What about Jack Haig? He's obviously looking stronger and stronger. Where do you think he's going to end up at the end of this race?
Probably, I'm hoping third. I'm hoping one of the 2 Movistar guys capitulates, or they attack each other, or maybe one of them's a really good teammate, and they pulled. It'll be Lopez, I think. I think Mas is not going to sacrifice his race for Lopez. 100%, that will not happen. Lopez has been pulling for Mas a fair bit, so maybe Lopez drops out. Maybe Lopez is only ahead of Jack by like 25 seconds in the final TT, and I mean he lost 6 minutes. Lopez. Remember, and Richie Porte took the podium off him in the Tour, the final TT last year. He can have good TTs, but yeah, maybe losing the TT. So Jack's this week really suits him because like 14k, 6% on stage 14. As I said, Damien House, and I mentioned Jack's a taller guy. He's not like 55 kilos. I think those sort of climbs suit him too, rather than like the really, really steep ones. So yeah, I think Jack should try and take some more time this week, even if he can.
I'm sure the sheriff will take any opportunity he can get.
we had a good chat with the sheriff, as we call him, Neil Stevens, the other day, and they've been quite impressive. Bahrain victorious, and he said the other Bahrain Merida. But I agree with you. I think Jack Haig can get the podium, and I reckon third is looking very, very strong for him. I reckon exactly that. He'll take more than a minute out of Lopez in the final time trial if it gets to that. But gee, there's a lot of racing to go before we get to that final time trial. Got some great stages coming up. Looking forward to it.
There's like a 14k, 10% climb somewhere that I've forgotten about. Yeah, mountaintop finish in the third week, I think, which is just, you worry Lopez on his day can go crazy on those climbs. So, yeah. But there's no high altitude either. So I think Jack's been really sensible in his pacing. On the other day when Yates, as I said, was attacking early on stage 9, Jack was being brought steady by Gino Maeda back. He said, I think he's on another pod, and he said, I think he's on Stanley Street. And he's like, I had Gino pace me back. If you go too early on that climb, you can suffer, because he did it in the previous Vuelta. So, yeah, he's been riding smart. And, we'll see how he goes. I think Ineos, he's been focusing on putting time into Ineos. So I don't really see them coming back. So it's looking good for him.
Well, it's going to be fascinating remaining second half of the Tour of Spain, mate. Keep up the fantastic work on the Lantern Rouge, and I'm sure anyone watching this is already watching your stuff daily in the mornings, but it's fantastic stuff, mate. Great insights, and it actually helps me a lot because I don't even have to watch the stages. Just get up, watch your summary, don't miss a thing, mate. It's been fantastic.
And as Dan always says, he always verifies it, saying, I actually don't ride a bike. But Dan doesn't have to explain that to anyone. But you've only got to look at him, and people will know that. But anyway, that's fine.
Jeez, where's the sound effects?
Maybe I'll start throwing in like red.
Out.
I'll throw in red herrings, like false information, and then you can repeat.
Yes, don't start doing that, mate. You'll be able to join some big dots. Good stuff, mate. But yeah, no, we appreciate you being on the detour, mate, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate. It's great insights there from the Lantern Rouge. What impresses me the most is there's three things I really struggle with in cycling, John. That is cyclist names.
Only three.
Races and places. Names, races, and places. So I don't really have a lot to offer when it comes to really good analysis. And he's a freak. Like, he's a bit like Matty Keenan. Can remember, results, who was doing what at that time. You're a bit the same, mate. And John, you struggle to sort of process information at times.
I struggle with everything, mate. I've got you to guide me through. I'm just lucky.
Yeah. Well, we've got Vaughan McVilly from Apex Custom Cycling Gear. He's going to come on, and he's got some news around the Detour kit. I've just got to load in a video that he sent through as well. But before we bring him in, let's have a quick word from our great mates at Bike Exchange and the Amy Gillett Foundation.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. but not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Life is like a two-way street. It's about consideration and mutual respect. Roads are much the same. However you get around, walk, ride or drive, if we share our roads, we can all be safer. The Amy Gillett Foundation is Australia's peak cycling safety charity. Our mission is for safe cycling in Australia. Our vision is for 0 cyclist deaths. Over the last year, we've seen an enormous increase in people taking up cycling, whether it be for recreation, with the family, commuting, or even to start your own cycling career. We need to do more to make it safer for every cyclist. 20 cyclists every day are hospitalised, and 1 cyclist is killed every 10 days on Australian roads. So, the next time you jump on your bike or hop in your car, remember to practice the 4 C's. Be courteous, calm, considerate and conscientious. Every cyclist death is preventable, and we all deserve to get home safely. Please donate to help the Amy Gillett Foundation make the roads safer for you and for me.
Thanks again to Bike Exchange, and some great messages there from the Amy Gillett Foundation. Now, John, you did criticise me on yesterday's episode, which you know, that's nothing uncommon. You know, Wendy Superfans called out, geez, John, you're picking on Dan this week. Yeah, you're dead right, Wendy. There could be some sort of breach of workplace practices going on, but we soldier on. And one of the criticisms was I did not connect enough with the fans. So we appreciate all your comments, and I'll start reading out a lot more of them. Okay. So David says having the Lantern Rouge on is great. Caroline obviously talking about Storer. That boy is good, very good. Annette Miller says downhill crashes are becoming an issue. 2019 Giro Stage 15, Dauphiné 2020, Paris-Nice 2021, and 2021 for Vuelta Stage 10, talking obviously about Primoz Roglic. And Free Ranger says, are downhill stages finishes pressuring riders to take unnecessary risks, John?
Well, they probably do, but they've always been a part of Grand Tour racing, so they're not going to cut them out. Yeah, they're exciting. It's probably more risky when they're a real GC stage, like big mountains, and then that final downhill where riders are trying to keep the break and that sort of thing. Yesterday's stage, not quite so much, but it was a strange one from Primoz yesterday. But anyway,
all right. Well, we've got Vaughan McVilly. He is chewing at the bit. He sent a message. He's going, "Let me in," and here he is now.
Boys.
Custom clothing.
How are we, lads? I'm in here. I'm right in here. I'm going to cause controversy. Roglic just can't go downhill. He proved that at the time trial at the Olympics. He's a shit at going around corners. Like, you can't say downhills are going to be taken out of the bloody Tour de France. I reckon Haig and Superman Lopez, they should have just ripped him a new one after they caught him and just put him in the hurt bag all the way down that descent. He's had more stacks going down here. He just struggles going down corners. I'm sorry.
Vaughan, what have I said about having coffees after 6 p.m., mate? Double espressos. You come in red hot.
Oh, mate. It was a good stage last night. But...
He didn't look good. He didn't look good in that last after he fell off. But Mass isn't much better. He couldn't hold the wheel. You see him jumping on the phone telling Lopez to ease up.
So I reckon that was interesting. I wrote that down because I reckon Movistar had a little chat. You saw Jackie Hay get up alongside Lopez, and they had a chat after they caught Roglic. And I reckon Jack just said, "Let's gun it," and Lopez said, "My teammate can't descend either, so we're just going to have to cruise down to the bottom."
Now, speaking of talking shite, Wheel Wizard John is talking shite. You need friends in bike races. Better be a friend of Roglic than not. What do you have to say to that, John? The Wheel Wizard's got you in his sights.
But when you're running second to a guy in the race, which he has been, and he's the main challenger to Roglic, you don't. What are you doing? Fist bumping him at the stage finish all the time. It's weird. It's bloody weird. Anyway, whatever.
Isn't it a sign that they've already won if other people are showing you like respect like that? You've already got inside their head. Shouldn't you still have that sort of killer spirit? Like, as much as obviously there's issues around Lance Armstrong, and we don't have to go there, but he hated people.
I used to do the fist bump like that. It was a bit harder,
and more not on the back. It was sort of the throat area.
A bit more like that, exactly.
The Will Wizard also says, glad to hear Lantern Rouge say maybe Roglic attack because he thought Bernal and Ineos were struggling, and if he didn't fall, he would have gained a time for a 15K effort.
Yeah, he just needs to learn how to go downhill.
he wouldn't have gained much more, though. It was a lot of effort for look, he was only 15 or 18 seconds in front of the other trio who were chasing him.
I reckon it's the opposite, mate. I reckon it's he was trying to get away on the uphill because he knew how bad he was on the down. All right, I'll get off Roglic now. Sorry.
Troy Collett wants to know, Vaughan, what are your thoughts on how Jay Vine has been going?
Oh, look, I'm a huge fan of Jay's. Like, he's had a really, really good season, and I think he's just going to get better and better and better. I'd like to see him take a few more risks, but he probably hasn't had the chance to do so. What do you reckon, Johnny?
Yeah, no, he's been impressive. He's been doing a lot of hard work on the flat stages. When Philipsen was, up there for the stage finishes, it was Jay was doing a lot of the work, and when he has got to a couple of breaks, he's been a bit of a workhorse. So the way he's looking, he's pretty strong. He might get himself a chance if he can get himself in a break in one of these upcoming days.
Is that your phone, John?
Yeah,
come on, mate. How many times?
It was Dennis.
Don't take that call live, mate. Do not take that one live. Will Wizard also followed up with Mas and Lopez. Both said they trained on the descent and it was dangerous. Did it look dangerous on the TV, Vicky?
Settle.
No.
No one else crashed.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Explain that.
That was Whitey just saying he can't come on. So we're getting the flick by everyone. Macca, Whitey, they're all giving us the flick tonight.
Oh, well, Vaughan's here, so look at the positives and move on. Worrying about things that we can't control, John. Hey, so where are we at, Vaughan? With obviously we were going to have some custom-made kit or give people the opportunity to do it. Do you want to explain what the situation is, where we're at, and how can people get involved?
All right, so now you can actually go to our website, apexcustom.com/the Detour Kit, I think it is. I'll whack it up on the screen at some stage, and basically you can download our templates. We've got 2 templates, which has got the Amy Gillett Foundation and the Detour logos already in place where that they should be sort of on the jersey, and then it's over to you guys, the fans. You can go absolutely berserk. I don't know if you got that little stinger video that I sent through, but basically,
I couldn't upload it into the system. I'll have to do that tomorrow.
For tomorrow night or something. But basically you can get your kids involved. They can use crayons and texters and have a crack at it. If you're a super design fan, you've got InDesign and you've got some sort of software, you can use that and design up the craziest kit you like, and then email it into us, and the boys will pick a winner. And the winner of the best kit that the boys decide will get a free set of kit and entry into the Amy Gillett Grand Fondo.
Now, I think that website is apexcustomsaus.com/detour kit comp.
That's it.
So if you get on there and have a look, it's all set up for you. Now, you've had a bit of a stab at it, Vaughan. If you'd like to get your thoughts, there's the bibs.
Or what?
That's just Vaughan showing us the
template.
How it'll work. The template. Yeah, there's the logos, and then go for it. Yeah, we're not going to have a plain. We're not having white nicks. I promise you that.
Not with your not with your
no, not going there, not going there.
Spill food, I meant. Remember the days when you'd roll up to the bakery and you'd have your freshly pressed white shirt, and by the end of the day, you look like, who was that character that they used to play? Not Dame Edna, the other one.
The cultural attaché.
Yeah. What was his name?
Sir Les.
Sir
Les Patterson. That was
actually the sheriff's brother. Neil Stevens' brother, Brian, named me Celeste. on the Tour de France. He caught me in the village in the morning, having a little bit with the food down there. And the next day, he reckons, he said, "That's the same shirt. You've got the same stains." I said, "No, well, my belly's in the same place." So, I was a little bit larger. So it's the same issue I have. So he says, "Yep, Sir Les, the cultural attaché." So
Skull reckons your name's John Pattinson.
Thank you, Skull.
Now, David says, rip off the EF Giro kit. That looked great.
It does look great.
So they're already starting to think about different designs. And, geez, I don't mind, sort of plagiarising and taking bits and pieces of great kits over the years. I mean, why not? Yeah.
Good. Remember that muscle kit that Mario Cipollini wore in that time trial all those years ago? Full length arm and legs. Looked like the skin had been ripped. Yeah, the leopard. Oh, like a bit of this action. There's one bit of leopard.
That's it.
A bit of that action.
Why not? Hey, Iffy, where are we at with the silent auction for the Miller Resorts? I had a good chat with Jason and Vic at Miller Resorts last night. They're in great spirits.
Yeah, it's still at $4,500, $4,500. We haven't had an increase on that. So, but we're plenty of time to go. I think it'll get up a bit higher than that, but we haven't had anyone.
Have you got your script there? Have you got your script there to get people going? Yeah,
I have. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's play the video. Clear your throat. Bring the music down, and go for it.
Discover a tropical playground of powdered sugar sand, lush jungle, and crystalline waters. A Miller Maldives luxury resort reeks of timeless style and endless bliss. Stand by for unexpected treats and indulgences. Delighting and surprising you is their hallmark. A Miller's motto is to exceed your expectations. The sky is the limit.
Oh, fantastic, Johnny. They're really hitting some form now with these
look out, Phil.
Mate. And if anyone wants to put a bid, remember that you can email John at john@cyclingevents.com.au. And if you also want any of his commentary work, I'm sure he'll cut your deal, mates rates. Charge him per word, iffy, a couple of bucks a word.
Well, I was looking on their website, and it looks a fascinating.
It's unbelievable.
Island. And it says leafy cycle tracks and secret beaches. Oh, how good is that?
Very good. Well, let's have a look at the stage profile for stage 11, fellas. What jumps out straight away, Iffy?
Breakaway.
Michael Matthews. Yeah, mate, it's his stage. He's going to do it. Trust me.
Well, it is a good stage for Michael. He's got to get in the break. If he gets in the break. I was impressed with Nick Schultz last night. He was in the break and he was very strong. Just the way it panned out, he didn't, he'd made a bit of a move and missed the one that the crucial one, but he actually looked quite good yesterday. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Nick have another bash at the end of the day.
What I love about this one, 133.6 Ks, short stage. Fantastic. I love the short stages.
Short and sweet.
Shorten them up.
The finish time is nasty, though. It's got like banks of ramps of 30+%. It doesn't look that steep, but that last little pinch there after the Cat 2, there's like little pinches of 30%. So it's actually going to be another ripping stage. It's probably going to be definitely for the breakaway, but I like, I'm with Iffy. Like Bling, if you can either get it in the breakaway, it's his sort of stage. Like get over the Cat 2 and a little punchy sort of finish. It's going to be really exciting. And as you said, Dan, it's only 130 Ks. You might be able to stay up for one of these.
Yeah, but no, they still finish at the same time. They just start a fraction later. That's the problem. Just an hour later.
Obviously, we've talked a bit about Michael Storer. It's one of those things where you look at the dollars of it, and Lantern Rouge made a good point. Like he would have, in theory now, winning 2 stages if you had a renegotiate, obviously you can't take risks, you've already signed a deal. But what, in terms of finances, do you think if he had have done a deal after winning 2 stages, what sort of difference could that be in a guy like that's contract at his age?
Another 0.
Throw it out there. Give people an insight into what you think. If you were managing the team, what you've probably paid for him and what he could have been worth if he did a contract after those wins?
Well, he signed up after the Tour de l'Ain, which he won. So I think they're pretty impressed. So I reckon he was probably only on, around about a 300,000 type of contract. I don't know. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
it would have been up to over 500 to 600,000, and maybe even more for next year. So, but with that couple of wins, be up close to the €1 million. Yeah,
We get €1 million on the back of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the guys who are capable of doing that. They're impressive wins. You look at that break yesterday, the 31 riders in there, and some real class in there, and just put them away like that, put them to the sword and ride away. That's impressive stuff.
He was super smart, wasn't he? Like, he's riding with obviously a lot more confidence, I think. And he said something actually back in the hotel room, like on the team page, which I found really interesting, especially after last night listening to you lads talking to CJ. He said, I wrote on how I felt. And I looked around and I was looking at everybody, how everybody else was feeling. And it was it wasn't a snub to technology, but he sort of made it a point of saying, I was just seeing how I was feeling. He wasn't looking at his numbers. He wasn't looking at, that sort of thing. It was like how I felt. And the way that he crossed that break after Elisson went away was just so impressive. And Chapeson was really like that point where he did go across and Chapeson was trying to hold his wheel. And it was like two completely different riders. You just had, Storer just tapping away quite a high cadence, just like up the hill. And you just saw Chapeson off the seat and like sweat and spit and stuff coming out of his face as he's trying to hold the wheel, and he just rode away so beautifully. It was so impressive. I was on the edge of my seat. It was unreal.
I was talking to
Dave Sanders. I was going to say Dave Sanders gave you some insights on Michael.
Yeah. So I was talking to Dave Sanders earlier this morning, and Dave took him away to because I knew Dave had been his DS at a few events, including the Sun Tour, which he rode really well, the one Damien Howson won. And he said, well, I actually took him away to the World Championships before that, to the Junior Worlds. And he said, and I realised he had a big motor, but that he just needed to focus. So I just said to him, you know what, forget about the road race, you'll be riding, but I want you to focus on the time trial. So he did. And he ran third in the world time trial. Even though he's not a specialist for that, it was a great ride. Third in the World Championship juniors. So Dave said, he's got a really big engine. He didn't know whether he would actually slot into the World Tour scene. Knew he had the engine for it, but he's certainly done that. There's no doubt about that.
Well, what's his progression going to look like? Do you think they're going to obviously tailor him to be more of a GC type contender, or like opportunistic, target stages and be potentially a super domestique?
Interesting. I don't know, actually. I don't know whether he's got that complete package to be a GC rider. You'd have to look at all his data. Definitely going to be for the 1 week races, Paris-Nice and all of those type of events, even Dauphiné, Switzerland. He's going to be a rider you would think would target those very, very well. But it could be. He's only 24. Been around a while. He's been pro a while. He was, 3 years is his 4th year, I think. So, but he's just coming into his own. I mean, you can see in his confidence in the way he rides. That stage he won, stage 7, he owned that stage. He was up the road, first one up the road. They got caught. He was up the road again and started the break. And then he split the break. And then he went away at the end. So, and quality field. And so very impressive.
Yeah, he just rode so smart. Like, his confidence just seems to have come up a whole level. I mean, I've been keeping an eye on him, but I would never have said he would have been able to pull off either of those wins. And he did it stealthily. Like last night, even Macca said in the broadcast, he just rode real smart, didn't do many turns when he didn't need to. He sat on when he needed to, and then he only, went after the attacks that he thought were the ones that he needed to make sure that he was with. And same in stage 7, he just was able to manage his effort unbelievably well with super classy bike riders, like guys that have been doing it for a long, long time. So, he's it's interesting. I don't think he'll be a big GC rider for the big tours, but I think you're right. If you the week longs and even some of the longer classics where it's hard, like he has got that time trial background a little bit, and he knows how to just go out and really hurt himself. So he's going to be great to watch over the next couple of years, that's for sure.
Yeah, he looks super strong coming in that finale down the hill and on the flat bits towards the finish. When it got they were 20 seconds down, there was still 40K to go, and the three of them working. I said, touch and go. But no, they didn't close one bit on him. He just got in there in his tuck position and as much as he could, and he went for it.
The Will was more insights. He says, Bardet said at a training camp, Storer had numbers he hadn't seen in a young guy.
There you go. There you go.
They love numbers. And
those numbers.
The other thing it shows with teams when you're signing riders, get in early. Like if you see something that numbers or they're winning these sort of other races, just back them in. Because the flip side is if they are a rider that performs on confidence, and we've talked about this even with CJ last night, mental state, if that takes the pressure off and you've got that support, they will ride out of their skin, and it will take, maybe take them to another level. So you've got to get in early.
All of the data. It's in the data now, mate. Now, right. I noticed we've got a new leader, and we haven't even mentioned the poor bugger, which is odd. It's odd that we haven't mentioned him, and his name is odd. Odd Christian Eiking. Eiking the Viking. I love it.
Eiking the Viking.
Eiking. And he's our new race leader in the red jersey. And he actually ran second in that Arctic race of Norway about a month ago by 2 seconds. And it was a really strange final day. The Intermarché didn't. He could have gained the time back, but they just didn't put him in the position to do that. And one of Lantern Rouge's episodes was just dissecting that. It was the worst team tactics he's ever seen. He gave that to poor old Odd and his odd team. But so we've got him and Guillaume Martin have moved into first and second because they were in that break and got nearly 12 minutes. But you wouldn't expect them, a couple of days and then the first mountain stage, you reckon they'd be straight back where they belong.
Odd was like 2015 under 23 Norwegian road race champ. Interestingly, he went to FDJ in 2016 and 17 and they flicked him. And then he went to, as I like to call them, Group Gobby now. Before it became Intermarché. Yeah, so interesting, eh? And then he seems to have, it was a good ride. Like he hung tough. Jeez, you saw him come across that finish line. He was nearly chewing the handlebar tape fair off the bike.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting back half of the Tour of Spain. Can you see anyone at this point toppling Roglic? I think it does at least give the race a bit of, hang on. He's going to do that on the descent. It's not over yet. Yes, John?
There is one person, I believe, who can beat Roglic, and that's Primoz Roglic.
Yeah.
Because, seriously, he'll be the man. He'll bring himself unstuck or he'll win this because I can't see him cracking enough. And look, he's going to take 2 minutes out of any of those guys in a 33K time trial. Mass is the only danger, but they would have to. It's a shame Valverde's now gone because with the three of them, they would have had a really good opportunity to try and work Roglic over. Lopez was going to have to, really do some strong. And the good thing having two riders close by, they're only, 25 seconds and a minute down behind him. So he can't let either one of them go. So they'll have to use their old 1-2. Movistar's a very strong professional team. If they ride really smart, they might be able to put him under the hammer a bit. They haven't got a history of doing that in the last couple of years, but it'll be interesting. And I reckon Jack Haig can get onto the podium, but I don't think he can challenge Primoz for the top spot. I think only Primoz can do that.
Well, when you said there's only one rider, I was expecting you to go, mate, I can see bloody Michael Matthews making up 56 minutes here. I reckon he's up. But what were you
I
going to
think-
say, boy?
I think you have to
Oh,
go back an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'd just agree with Iffy. Interesting, Bahrain victorious. I don't know whether Mikel Landa was hurting that bad yesterday. I actually think he may have sat up and lost some more time so he can support Jack a bit better over the next couple of days. Could be wrong. Could be way out the balance on that one. Caruso, obviously, after his stage win, is riding really, really well. And then Gino Madar, who's like, he's only 6 minutes 54 down. They've got a couple of strong guys in that team. So hopefully we'll see Jack Hay get up onto the podium. And I say this all the time, but I'd love to see Bahrain and Movistar just cause a bit of a ruckus every time you go downhill, boys. Let's just gun it and see if he can handle it. Because you're right, Iffy. I think the only person that can beat Roglic right now is the Rog Dog himself. And he's done it quite a number of times before.
Yeah. Well, if anything, he's making it more interesting. You've got to give him that. And as John Stevens says, he says, R.E. Roglic tactics is in his DNA to have a go. There's no holding back in ski jumping. So that's right.
Yeah.
Iffy?
And obviously that was the case. I think after listening to a few people talking, he probably did notice that Bernal was a bit of trouble, and he would be worried about Bernal because they know what he can do in the past. He did win the Giro. So putting him out of business probably thought, well, it's one bloke gone. But anyway, we'll see.
He did struggle in that the Olympics down the hills and around the corners. Like if you watch that live, which made his ride at the Olympics so more unbelievable than it really was, is because he got passed by I can't remember the Frenchie's name, but like the Frenchie would pass him on every downhill, and then he'd just power back past him and put another 40 or 50 seconds in, and then the next downhill technical bit he'd get caught again. So he definitely has a little bit of an issue on the more technical descents, but I don't disagree. He definitely also has massive set of gangulis hanging below him because he's going in there pretty hot. Yeah.
Couple more comments. Marilyn McVilly. Evening,
Hey,
gentlemen.
it's
I'm
me, Mum.
learning so much from you all. Thank you so much. I don't know if you're learning much from me and Iffy, but
Hi, Mum.
the Lantern Rouge is probably giving you some good
Hi,
insights.
Marilyn.
Wendy
Superstar.
Superman. We have 2 gold medals in the Paralympics. That's obviously underway. Paige Greco in her 3,000 meter individual pursuit, and Emily Petricola in her 3,000 IP as well. So congratulations to those
I watched
guys.
them both this afternoon. It was fantastic.
Yep. No, Scooter's not commentating the Paralympics. That's a shame.
Isn't he? That's a bugger.
Yeah. Ryan Kavanagh says Bernal could be very dangerous in the poorer weather in Galicia, like the stage of the Giro when there was no TV coverage. I don't know. I think it could be side effects from having COVID. I reckon there could be something in there, Johnny.
It could be. It could be. We've thrown that into the ether. No one's come back and confirmed anything, but we might throw the fishing rod out and see if we can get Brett Lancaster on over this couple of days. He might have a little bit of inside information for us, being a DS and living in Spain.
Before we wrap things up, fellas, obviously it was a really good episode last night with CJ Sutton, and as we've said, Vaughan, you do a lot of work with the Mental Wheels Foundation.org. What were your takeaways? It was pretty refreshing to hear, particularly CJ being so open about his battles with things like depression and what effect he's trying to have on young riders now.
Absolutely. It was and hats off chapeau to both you blokes, because that episode last night was brilliant. I've actually rewatched it twice. That's how good it was. I thought he was being pretty vulnerable there too, and opening up about his own mental health, which is one of the hardest things. But also just listening to yourself, having someone to talk to, and then going on how your body feels. I think if to try and make that connection to cycling, and I probably made it a little bit earlier, is like everyone's so into the data and heart rate and all that sort of stuff, when, some of the best coaches going around, I'm hearing them talking about their perceived rate of exertion and putting the old computer in the back pocket and just training to see to how hard you're hurting. From a mental toughness point of view, it's the same thing. And then being able to know that you're actually going hard and you need to stop and have a rest, and try and do something differently to make yourself I guess feel a little bit better, but also be able to navigate through your days. At the moment, we're in lockdown all over Australia at the moment, and from a mental toughness point of view, it can be really, really hard, and especially men, they try to battle through on their own. When right now is a good time to be reaching out and coming up with new tips, tricks, and hints and hacks on how to map yourself around through your day and keeping your mental health strong.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that was a good point you made as well. When that young guy came into the bike shop and, he was sort of feeling on edge about doing another 130 Ks and you called it. So I think that's an important thing, is calling things out as well. Like if you see someone struggling, or you can read a situation, just calling it out and getting on the front foot like you did, John. So there's a compliment to you. Store that.
I'll take back the thing I was about to say about you, so I'll take it back.
But what are some of the things I want to ask you before we go is, what are some of the things that the Mental Wheels Foundation, if you go to the website, I mean, can this also channel people into the right direction? Because it's one thing to give out, tips and insights and all this sort of stuff, but there are some people that actually need to go and be steered in the right direction for professional support.
That's a great question, Dan. Like most of our money goes to mindspot.org, and it's a free online mental health therapies website. There's people there answering questions. You'll get a phone call. You can fill in a questionnaire, and you can do it right now. You can be completely anonymous. In fact, one of the head professors there, Professor Blake, is an amazing guy, and he once said to me, he goes, one of the most regular names they get is something like John Howard was one of the names that they get, so you can be completely anonymous and fill out a questionnaire, and it will give you some feedback on where you're at actually with your own mental health. And if you're at a level where you need help, you'll get a phone call. Someone will call you. Of course, there's also Beyond Blue and those sorts of things. But what the Mental Wheels Foundation do is we raise money to then go into those types of organisations. We also funded one of the first ever trials, which was a thing called which was basically a clinical trial called The Things We Do. And we analysed, it was the first ever trial that was male specific around the things that we do that affect our mental health and depression and those sorts of things. The first ever in the world. It was only happened about 2 or 3 years ago, which is mind numbing when you think about it. But the findings from that immediately changed the way that people deal with, even when we answer the phone at MindSpot or at a Beyond Blue, whether it's a male or female, on the language that we use and how to deal with people who are going through a bit of a tougher time. The other two things that we do, which are really quite exciting and fantastic, is we run 2 scholarships, one scholarship for sport, one scholarship for music, 2 of the areas that mental health and depression are actually very, very high in. And we run that for a 16 to 22-year-old person that's had a life, had a situation within their life that's caused them some depression, but have a super talent. So we're coupled with the AIS on that one. And so we run scholarships as well. So it's a fantastic organisation. As I said, it was founded by Gareth Pike and Clinton Hill. Clinton Hill's a silver medalist Olympic runner and a legend of a man. And Gareth Pike he's in the coffee industry and is also an amazing guy. And so we do a lot of things that continually just trying to raise money for mental health in Australia.
Well, it's great stuff and great work you're doing. And as we said, check it out, mentalwheelsfoundation.org. And we'll no doubt be checking in again throughout the rest of the Vuelta, mate. And as we said, if anyone is struggling, get the support, get on there and reach out and don't store it. Don't sit in isolation. Take the right steps, because, geez, we've got to 53 minutes and we haven't mentioned COVID. So that's a result, Iffy, because normally we spend the first 5 minutes talking about the bloody lockdowns.
Or Bay Classic.
I thought we were going to go through a whole show without mentioning, but anyway.
Can I mention the Bay Classic?
Yeah.
I remember years and years ago, Iffy, you said that you might end up putting in a cyclocross race on one of the days, and it was going to go through a park, and we're going to set up a tent, and the tent was going to be square, but the cyclocross race was going to go straight through the middle, and it was going to be a beer tent. Like, when's that race coming back, mate? I've got heaps of cyclocross mates who are just champing at the bit.
Well, we almost got it happening a couple of years ago. And then we even took it a step further. We're going to have that when we used to race at Port Arlington, and we were going to go using the steps down to the pier from the race, because they would have had to run up the steps as well as go through the tent. But anyway, it never happened. It's too hard.
Well,
too hard.
who knows, John? Maybe in a couple of years' time when the smoke clears.
We'll be back.
Yep. Vaughan?
One last little thing that I just want to quickly mention. I'm wearing the Hobart Football Club hat, and I need to give a big shout out to Banger, Justin Harvey. He's playing 350 games on the weekend. And you're probably thinking, why are we talking about football? But my old man, when he got down to Tassie, he ended up being the head trainer for the Hobart Footy Club. Harvey is an absolute legend. So good on you, Banger, for 350 games.
Good on you, Banger. Great stuff. Well, as we say, thanks again for all your support, guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, youtube.com/the Detour podcast. Thanks for your input, Vaughan, and all the work you're doing for the Detour kit. And remember to get involved with that. And thanks again to the Lantern Rouge for joining the show as well. Some great insights. And we'll be back again at 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see you then. Final predictions for the stage, lads, before we go. Iffy?
Bling.
Vaughan?
Bling.
All right, that's 3 blings because I don't know any other bloody rider that's up for it. All right, see you tomorrow.
This is the winning ride of the Tour de France.